Minister Sheikh Hasina urges Chinese businessmen to invest in Bangladesh by utilizing advantages of investment-friendly atmosphere.
It is time to invest in Bangladesh, and I am confident that with our hands joined together we can achieve great things.
Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina pays tributes to heroes of Chinese Revolution at Tiananmen Square in Beijing. Obaidul Qadir urges all to remain vigilant so that BNP and its like-minded parties cannot create anarchy by provoking non-political programs of pension scheme and quota reformation. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina-led present government wants to ensure protection to professional journalists, says State Minister for Information and Broadcasting Muhammad Ali Arafat. Bangladesh will be able to export goods to Nepal and Bhutan by using Indian land if MOU on rail transit materialized. Bangladeshi export market to be expanded. Narendra Modi urges Vladimir Putin to seek peaceful end to Russia's war in Ukraine during his first foreign trip as Indian Prime Minister for a third consecutive time. And France to take on Spain in first semi-finals of Euro football tonight. Assalamu alaikum. This is Tuli Komulika Das welcoming you all to News at 10. You have just heard the highlights. Moving on to the details.
যারা আজ বাংলার স্বাধিকারকে দমাতে চায়, যারা আজ বাংলার সংস্কৃতি, বাংলার মানুষকে আজ লুট করতে চায়, কলোনি করতে চায়, বাজার করতে চায়, এত বড় বিজয়ের পরাজয় ষড়যন্ত্র করতে চায়, তাদের জেনে রাখা উচিত যে 1952 সালের বাঙালি আর 1971 সালের বাঙালির মধ্যে পার্থক্য আছে।
Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina urged the Chinese business community to invest in Bangladesh's main sectors for mutual benefits, taking the advantages of the world's most liberal investment regimes. It is time to invest in Bangladesh, and together the two countries can achieve great things, she said. The Prime Minister said this while addressing a summit on trade, business and investment opportunities between Bangladesh and China in Beijing this morning local time. In her speech, the Prime Minister encouraged the Chinese business community to consider key sectors in Bangladesh. She said her government welcomes investments in country's infrastructure, energy and logistics sectors. Joining the summit on the second day of her four-day bilateral visit to China, Sheikh Hasina urged the Chinese entrepreneurs and investors to invest in larger volumes in Bangladesh's potential sectors, ICT, tourism, agro-processing industries and development sectors.
I encourage the Chinese business community to consider key sectors in Bangladesh. We welcome investments in our infrastructure, energy, renewable energy and logistics sectors. Climate resilient smart farming opens opportunities for collaboration in agro-processing industries with buyback arrangements with China. We plan to establish 3 special tourism zones where China can invest in a real estate and hospitality sector. I also urge Chinese investors to explore portfolio investment in Bangladesh. Bangladesh is situated in an important geostrategic location with direct connectivity to all major international trading and shipment routes. We are also at the crossroads of South Asian, Southeast Asia and East Asian growth circuits. Our huge domestic market, the markets that are adjacent to us hold endless opportunity for entire region. One of Bangladesh's greatest assets is its young and dynamic workforce. We welcome Chinese investment in our export-oriented industries, which will help us diversify our export basket and reduce trade deficits. Together, we can create a prosperous future and benefits for both our countries and peoples. I extend an open invitation to all of you to visit Bangladesh, explore the opportunities, and experience the warmth and hospitality of our people. You will find in us all support and assistance you need. Let us work together to build a stronger, more prosperous, and more connected world. It is time to invest in Bangladesh, and I am confident that with our hands joined together, we can achieve great things.
In the summit, 16 memorandums of understanding have been exchanged between several companies of Bangladesh and China. The summit was organized by the Embassy of Bangladesh in Beijing, BIDA, BSEC and CCPIT at China World Summit Wing, Shangri-La Circle, Beijing. Several hundred business leaders, investors and entrepreneurs from Bangladesh and China joined the summit. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina called upon China to help Bangladesh repatriate the forcibly displaced Rohingyas to their homeland, Myanmar. The Premier made the call when a high-level committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, CPPCC, a very important wing of the Chinese Communist Party led by its chairman Wang Haning, held a meeting with the Bangladesh Premier in Beijing today. During the meeting, different regional and bilateral issues including the Rohingya crisis, reducing trade gap between Bangladesh and China, celebration of 50 years of diplomatic relations between the two countries in a meaningful way, measures to enhance their bilateral relations, and contact between Bangladesh Awami League and Chinese Communist Party were prominently and elaborately discussed. Later, Foreign Minister Dr. Hassan Mahmood briefed the reporters. Finance Minister A.H. Mahmood Ali and Press Secretary to the Prime Minister M. Naimul Islam Khan were present among others during the briefing.
বাংলাদেশে যে রোহিঙ্গারা আজকে ৬.৫ বছরের বেশি সময় ধরে রোহিঙ্গারা আশ্রয় গ্রহণ করেছে এবং মায়ানমার এখনো তাদের যে ফেরত নিয়ে যাচ্ছে না সেই বিষয়টি অত্যন্ত গুরুত্ব সহকারে আলোচনা করেন এবং মায়ানমার যাতে রোহিঙ্গাদের ফেরত নিয়ে যায় সেজন্য চায়নার সহযোগিতা কামনা করেন এবং প্রত্যুত্তরে সিপিপিসিসির প্রেসিডেন্ট তিনি বলেছেন মায়ানমার এবং বাংলাদেশের ক্ষেত্রে আলোচনার ক্ষেত্রে চায়না ফ্যাসিলিটেটরের কাজ করবে রোহিঙ্গাদের প্রত্যাবাসন শুরু হয় সে ব্যাপারে তারা সর্বোচ্চ যতটুকু সম্ভব সেই সহায়তা তারা করবেন বলে জানিয়েছেন
Earlier, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank AIIB President Jin Lee Kuan paid a courtesy call on the Prime Minister. During the call on, Sheikh Hasina called for cooperation from AIIB to transform Bangladesh into a developed, prosperous and smart country by 2041. The AIIB can also play a significant role in the future for the development journey of Bangladesh and the accomplishment of the dream of transforming the country into a developed and prosperous Bangladesh, she said. Later, Foreign Minister Dr. Hassan Mahmood told newsmen while briefing about the outcome of the second day's China visit.
বাংলাদেশকে ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচার বিল্ড আপের ক্ষেত্রে আমাদের জলবায়ু খাতে এবং বিশেষ করে আমাদের উপকূলব্যাপী যে মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রীর নেতৃত্বে যে জনগণকে যে জলবায়ু সহিষ্ণু ঘর নির্মাণ করা হচ্ছে সেই ক্ষেত্রে বাংলাদেশে নদীগুলোকে ব্রেজিং করার ক্ষেত্রে অর্থায়নের জন্য তিনি আলোচনা করেন এবং তিনি বলেন যে এশিয়ান ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচার ব্যাংক সেটি বাংলাদেশের ক্ষেত্রে অত্যন্ত গুরুত্বপূর্ণ ভূমিকা পালন করছে এবং ভবিষ্যতে আমাদের উন্নয়ন অভিযাত্রায় এবং আমাদের যে স্বপ্নের বাস্তবায়ন 2041 সাল নাগাদ বাংলাদেশকে একটি উন্নত সমৃদ্ধ রাষ্ট্রে রূপান্তরিত করার ক্ষেত্রে এশিয়ান ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচার ব্যাংক গুরুত্বপূর্ণ ভূমিকা পালন করতে পারে
Later, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina paid glowing tributes at the monument to the people's heroes at the Tiananmen Square in Beijing. She paid homage to the Chinese heroes by placing a wreath at the monument. On her arrival at the square, a smartly turned out contingent of the Chinese armed forces gave the Bangladesh Premier the state salute. The national anthems of the two countries were played on the occasion while the bugle sounded the last post. After laying the wreath at the monument in the afternoon, the Prime Minister stood in solemn silence for some time as a mark of profound respect to the memory of the Chinese revolutionary heroes. Awami League General Secretary and Road Transport and Bridges Minister Obaidul Qadir urged all concerned as well as leaders and activists of his party to remain alert so that the BNP and its like-minded parties cannot create anarchy by provoking the non-political programs of teachers and quota reformation. He made the call at a joint meeting of the Awami League at its central office in the capital's Bangabandhu Avenue today.
এই অরাজনৈতিক আন্দোলনে বিএনপি এবং তাদের সমমনস্কদের কারো কারো রাজনৈতিক সমর্থন বিষয়টা নিয়ে আমাদের ভাবতে হবে। এই অশুভ মহলটি শিক্ষার্থী এবং শিক্ষকদের দাবির বিষয়টাকে উস্কানি দিয়ে ইন্ধন দিয়ে যাতে দেশে একটা বিশৃঙ্খলার আবহ তৈরি করতে না পারে সে ব্যাপারে সারা বাংলাদেশে এই রাজধানীতে সর্বত্রই আমাদের সাবধান থাকতে হবে, সতর্ক থাকতে হবে। উচ্চ আদালতে যে মামলা সব পক্ষের কথা শুনে আমি মনে করি দেশের সর্বোচ্চ আদালত অ্যাপিল বিভাগ বাস্তবসম্মত একটা সিদ্ধান্ত নেবে, এটাই আমরা আশা। শিক্ষকদের আন্দোলন সেটাও যোগাযোগ তাদের সঙ্গে আছে, আনুষ্ঠানিক হয়তো কোনো বৈঠক হয়নি। আমরা আশা করি সেটাও খুব বেশি জটিল সমস্যা নেই।
The Road Transport and Bridges Minister said the government will not fall in any kind of provocation. The Prime Minister has directed all concerned as well as Awami League leaders and activists to be careful about provocations, he added.
খুব সতর্কভাবে এই পরিস্থিতি মোকাবিলা করতে হবে। কোনো অবস্থায় প্রভোকেশন দেওয়া যাবে না এবং আইন প্রয়োগকারী সংস্থাকেও নেত্রী নির্দেশ দিয়ে গেছেন তাদের পক্ষ থেকেও কোনো প্রভোকেশন যাতে না দেয়া।
Awami League Presidium members Advocate Kamrul Islam and Dr. Mustafa Jalal Mohiuddin, Joint General Secretaries Mahbub ul Alam Hanif, AFM Bahauddin Nasim and Dr. Deepu Moni, leaders of Dhaka Metropolitan North and South Awami League as well as all associate organizations of the Awami League were present at the joint meeting. State Minister for Information and Broadcasting Muhammad Ali Arafat said the present government led by Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina wants to ensure the safety of professional journalists. He said this at a view exchange meeting with the leaders of Dhaka Union of Journalists at the conference room of the Information and Broadcasting Ministry at the Secretariat this afternoon. Dhaka Union of Journalists President Sohail Haidar Chaudhary, Senior Vice President Nazrul Islam Mitu and General Secretary Akhtar Hussain among others were present on the occasion. Mentioning that the government wants to ensure fairness in the media, the State Minister said it is not the intention of the government to control journalists, journalism and mass media. He said the government would not increase the number of media if it had the intention to control. State Minister for Information and Broadcasting said the aim of government is to protect professional journalists so that anyone cannot come to journalism if they want, and professional journalists do have to take responsibility for the misjournalism of amateur journalists.
বঙ্গবন্ধু কন্যার নেতৃত্বে গত 15 বছরে মিডিয়ার যে বিস্তৃতি ঘটার ফলে অনেক এমপ্লয়মেন্ট জেনারেটেড হয়েছে, অনেক মানুষ এখানে কাজ করার সুযোগ পাচ্ছে। আমাদের উদ্দেশ্য হচ্ছে প্রফেশনাল জার্নালিজমকে প্রোটেকশন দেয়া, যাতে দ্য সো কল যে কেউ মন চাইলো আজকে সাংবাদিকতা আসলাম, এসে যা ইচ্ছা তাই করলাম, এই তাদের যে অপকর্মের দায়টা পেশাদার সাংবাদিকদের ঘাড়ে চলে আসা, এটা যাতে না হয়, ওই প্রোটেকশনটাই আমরা চাই। পেশাদারিত্বের সাথে সাংবাদিকতার যে অনুশীলনটা এটাই প্রোটেক্টেড হোক। সমালোচনাকে আমরা ভয় পাই না। আমরা যেটাকে অপছন্দ করি সেটা হলো যে মিথ্যাচার করে অসত্যের অপতথ্যের মাধ্যমে একটা মানুষকে ম্যানিপুলেট করে ধোঁকা দেয়া। আর সমালোচনাকে আমরা অপছন্দ করি না, ভয়ও পাই না, এবং এটাকে বরং আমরা ওয়েলকাম করি, যেটা আমাদেরকে হেল্প করবে টু ইমপ্রুভ আওয়ারসেলফ।
Bangladesh will be able to export goods to Nepal and Bhutan directly through railway by using the land of India if the Memorandum of Understanding on Rail Transit between Bangladesh and India is materialized. Insiders say the markets for Bangladeshi goods in Nepal and Bhutan will get momentum with the implementation of the win-win situation MOU on rail transit. This rail transit is one of the 10 memorandums of understanding signed with India during the recent Delhi visit of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Bangladesh exported goods to Nepal and Bhutan worth over $50 million between July 2023 and April 2024. Experts say the scope for expansion of markets for Bangladeshi goods in the two countries will increase, largely if Bangladesh-India rail transit MOU is materialized. According to the rail secretary, initially Gede, Dorshona and Chilahati, Holdibari, Dholgao, Hashimara route will be used. Trains may run as test on the route in August. Moving on to the international news. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has told Russian President Vladimir Putin that peace is of utmost importance and a solution to the war in Ukraine that cannot be found on the battlefield. The Indian leader's commands come a day after a lethal strike on a children's hospital in Kyiv, just one of a series of attacks that killed 41 people in Ukraine. Putin, speaking before Modi at a televised meeting at the Kremlin today, said their two countries enjoyed a special strategic partnership and praised the Indian leader for his efforts to find a peaceful solution to the conflict. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky condemned India's Prime Minister for visiting Russia, calling the trip a devastating blow to peace efforts. Israeli forces ramped up attacks on areas across the northern Gaza Strip despite new ceasefire discussions taking place. At least 50 people were killed in the latest 24-hour reporting period throughout the besieged coastal enclave, Gaza's Ministry of Health said today. At least 38,243 people have been killed in Gaza and 88,033 people wounded in Israel's war since October 7th, according to Gaza's health ministry. A senior Palestinian official has told that indirect negotiations between Hamas and Israel on a ceasefire and hostage release deal are expected to resume in Qatar within 48 hours. Meanwhile, Brazil has put into effect a free trade agreement with the Palestinian Authority that has been waiting for ratification for more than a decade in a show of support for the Palestinian people and the SNUB to occupier Israel. Brazil's foreign ministry said in a statement that Brazil, which recognizes a Palestinian state and allowed a Palestinian embassy to be built in the Brazilian capital in 2010, ratified the agreement that had been signed in 2011. At least 7 people have died after Hurricane Beryl slammed into southeast Texas and Louisiana, knocking out power for nearly 3 million people. Beryl hit the southern United States on Monday morning as a Category 1 hurricane, but it has since been downgraded to a tropical depression. Officials warned of destructive winds up to 38 centimeters of rain and life-threatening storm surges. More than 1,100 flights were cancelled at Houston's main airport on Monday, according to FlightAware.com. Some 2.6 million customers in Texas were without power as of Monday night, said Power Outage US, with some outages also reported in Louisiana. The storm caused at least 10 deaths in the Caribbean. Officials said 7 people had died in Texas's Hurricane Harris and Montgomery counties, while 1 more fatality was confirmed in neighboring Louisiana. Ambassador of the Sultanate of Oman to Bangladesh, Abdul Ghaffar bin Abdul Karim al-Bulushi, paid a courtesy call on State Minister for Expatriates, Welfare and Overseas Employment Shafiqur Rahman Chaudhry at his office in the Secretariat today. After the meeting, State Minister for Expatriates, Welfare and Overseas Employment Shafiqur Rahman Chaudhry said Oman government has opened the labour market in 12 categories, including physician, engineer, nurse and teacher for Bangladeshi nationals. The State Minister said Oman government will legalise 96,000 illegal Bangladeshi workers. The country also mulls over waiving fines of illegal expatriate Bangladeshis, he added. Secretary of Expatriates Welfare and Overseas Employment Ministry Muhammad Ruhul Amin was present among others at the meeting. Now, news on weather. Met Office in its weather forecast till 6 p.m. tomorrow said light to moderate rain or thunder showers accompanied by temporary gusty wind is likely to occur at most places over Rangpur, Mymensingh and Sylhet divisions, at many places over Chattogram and Dhaka divisions, at a few places over Rajshahi, Khulna and Borishal divisions. Besides, moderately heavy to very heavy falls likely to occur at places over Rangpur, Mymensingh, Chattogram and Sylhet divisions. Night and day temperature may remain nearly unchanged over the country, said the Met Office. And now news on sports. France will face Spain in the first semi-final of Euro football tonight at 1 a.m. Bangladesh time. The Netherlands will face England in the second semi-final on Wednesday night at 1 a.m. On the other hand, defending champions Argentina will face Canada in the first semi-final of the Copa America football on Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. Colombia will play Uruguay in the second semi-final on Thursday morning at 6 a.m. And to end the bulletin, headlines once again. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina urges Chinese businessmen to invest in Bangladesh by utilizing advantages of investment-friendly atmosphere. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina pays tributes to heroes of Chinese Revolution at Tiananmen Square in Beijing. Obaidul Qadir urges all to remain vigilant so that BNP and its like-minded parties cannot create anarchy by provoking non-political programs of pension scheme and quota reformation. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina-led present government wants to ensure protection to professional journalists, says State Minister for Information and Broadcasting Muhammad Ali Arafat. Bangladesh will be able to export goods to Nepal and Bhutan by using Indian land if MOU on rail transit materialized. Bangladeshi export market to be expanded. Narendra Modi urges Vladimir Putin to seek peaceful end to Russia's war in Ukraine during his first foreign trip as Indian Prime Minister for a third consecutive term. And France to take on Spain on first semi-finals of Euro football tonight. And that's all from the newsroom for the moment. Thank you for staying with us. We invite you to watch our next Bangla News Bulletin at 11:30.